continue on the steps that I have here. If I remember the last time that I was gonna do this, I searched for this and I couldn't find this node. So I think it's probably a slightly different name, and I just maybe I wrote it in the wrong order here. So I'm gonna try to search for this. And I'm basically gonna try to study the GDScript file editor that the editor has, so the file system that they have, to see if I can create a class that is basically implements the same thing, but for my stuff that I'm trying to do there. Just gonna wait to see if it's streaming. I'll look for with this one probably first. Also, it's code_editor. It's probably this class. Or code edit. Code editor. It's code edit. I wanna see how they connect this with the file system doc. File system is the class that has the files for the projects. So let's see how they do this. The way that I'm thinking about it is obviously gonna be probably through signals. I think I've seen some tutorials or something for the code edit before. So pretty sure that the code edit is gonna be the class that creates the codes file system, not file system, the code. Basically this stuff here that VS Code shows. It's like a similar version of this. And I think that this other class is probably the one that is responsible for handling like the sections. Yeah, already puts there. Oh, and for the other stuff, so last time that I streamed, I was trying to solve the tab visibility. So create a pop-up to solve or to toggle the tab visibility from the bars. And I realized that, and I don't know why I didn't think about this before. Yeah, so tab visibility pop-up that I was doing. But what I did was just to connect another signal. So connect the signal on the dockable layout class to call this function here. And then from this function, I call the other function from the tab visibility pop-up. So I always keep the state on the tab visibility pop-up. After the first time that the places are put there, I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it. Well, it receives the docs first, then it creates on the first time. If you already created, it's not gonna create additional ones. And then I keep this state on this class here, and I just reuse the state for the other times. because I'm gonna populate with the right one on this function here. And then I just get the value of the hash map, of this hash map that I create here on this other class. And then I loop over, and then based on this one, I toggle the values on the docs. It seems to be working this way. I think the best way to do this is to run over with the debugger on a project that has the editor, and then interact with the editor, put breakpoints, and see what happens. Obviously, look into the signals as well. Oh, I think that's gonna be. I do remember that I changed everything on the file system doc, and I do remember there are some signals. I think it's based on resources. It's gonna be on the file some or file open, I think, or file option. Yeah, there's gonna be a new file, and then it's gonna be something to do with the imports or something like this, and that's gonna be the function that they use to create. I think file open. I don't think it wasn't file open. Maybe it was file access. Yeah, so all this stuff on my thing there, I deleted because I'm probably gonna do it in a different way. It's not gonna be the same thing though. At least it's easier to just see it from the editor, the options. Yeah, this one is gonna be the one I think. So this dialog is probably gonna, I need to see the signals that are connected to this. Because this option is probably gonna be the one that runs after you create a new script. I think that this dialog is gonna open another one to put the name of the script. And then once you confirm, then it's gonna probably connect, or it's either gonna, I think it's gonna more likely to be a signal to the class that is gonna be responsible for showing the file. A script editor, this is the one that I remember seeing. Script editor. I put a, write down, just gonna write down the names. So panel container. I think this one is interesting. This is probably gonna be, I wanna see, so it's probably easier to just search for this, so it doesn't use this. But this might be a class, like a different class. I'm pretty sure that the one that actually creates the file, like this kind of thing here, with the text of the code, is gonna be the code editor. So that's the one I have to see. See the constructor. This is a pop-up, I think, because of this class here is used somewhere else to open an external window. I think on the make floating doc on the doc system of the editor, they use this class here to create like a external window from the other one. So for that reason, I think that this is probably a pop-up or something like this. So I think this class is probably the one that handles the pop-up that shows after you open the script, or you select the option to open the script, and then the other one's gonna be the one that actually, but yeah, maybe so there should be a connection though. And I think that there probably, yeah, there isn't here because I already searched for the thing there. So they have to be connected through signals, is the only explanation. If it is what I'm thinking about, it might be different. Oh, so this class is the one that is responsible for creating the debugger on the thing, which is also interesting. Breakpoints. Yeah, so make floating here. Okay, let me. It's not interesting to see this. Before scenes. Yeah, I wanna focus on this class here. So there is a thing to do now. Should just go over with the debugger. I need to think about what's going to be the strategy to convert this to the class that I'm thinking about. Because obviously, so I'm gonna see exactly what class is the one that actually creates the editor. Then I'm going to copy like the templates, what inherits from. And I think I'm gonna remove everything and I'm going to start from scratch. I think that's probably better. Then I need to find the key points that I wanna implement first. So I'm gonna try to implement on steps, obviously, to see if it works. I should just press, because this is not really a press of file. Yeah, I think that the based on the like the stuff that I've seen so far, it seems that they connect the classes in a way that I wasn't expecting. So I'm not really sure if the debugger is directly connected with the text file, but maybe it is, and I don't understand very well. So I just need to clarify more. So this is going to be on the editor node constructor. Here is adding this plugin, debugger editor plugin. And this is probably a breakpoint that I put. Well, I put this one on when I was when I had the problem with the tab container that I had to change. Now it seems that it's working. It's still interesting. This class might be interesting as well, just for deploy with remote file system. Our server editor debugger now. So it's creating a TCP server. That's actually interesting as well. I think I should probably not waste too much time on this. I should get to the point as fast as possible. I think the debugger is something that I have to think about it later. Because it's probably most likely is going to be different, but there are probably going to be things that I can reuse for sure. I'll have to see how to implement like a bunch of different stuff. So that's why I think that's probably better to learn or to think about it from the beginning. Just try to extract the parts that I think that are going to be useful. So I'm going to have to see if I can implement like type checking and the I think it's IntelliSense, the name, the suggestions that show up. Although sometimes it is useful to have that, but I don't think that's very like for me it's very useful. But obviously I'm gonna see, and it might be useful to study VS Code as well for that. How do they do it? But I think that the main parts that I want to be focused on in the beginning is the integration of the classes. It's like how to think about the design. I think the design is more important in the beginning. And it's probably gonna be by connecting the signals from the classes. The information has to be connected through signals. Just gonna press F5. Should go. Oh, maybe this one's. So, so there's the script editor here, which I think is the other one. It's probably not gonna be that interesting. Just oh, text editor, register editor. So this one might be. It's gonna be interesting. This shoe here. Like the problem here is so like it pushes all the plugins before, and then it's gonna loop over them through this probably, and then it's gonna use this to add. But obviously I don't want to go one by one, so I think it's just easier to interact with the editor to see. Hmm. Yeah, so like this might be, I think, is an indication that I should probably focus on the shortcuts first, because the cluster are probably gonna rely on a lot of them. But like I thought that the so maybe it's different. Maybe this class is for something else. I think I need to look over more. 'Cause I thought that the code editor class would handle this like basic situations like navigating with the arrows. I think here is obviously a different thing. Is holding out and then putting the other keys. So it might be like a different stuff here. It's probably gonna be similar to this one. Script editor. Shortcuts is very confusing to see, like, because on my case, there's like I don't even know. Like I'm building things, thinking about building, like making a system that allows me to build any application that I want. That's the point of view I'm coming from. But I don't, obviously I don't even know if I'm gonna do that, so I'm gonna focus on this more or whatever is gonna happen. But like coming from that perspective is very hard to think about the shortcuts because I'm not really sure. Like there's multiple different options I think to do it. Like I think that's one way would be to create in the same way that I'm creating the editor, the themes and there was something else that I forgot. The navbars. So the navbars and themes. I think I could do the same with shortcuts where you create a function and then for each scene. But it is kind of a difference because it's more like it's more coupled to the scene and not to the like not to, it's not a generic thing I think. But maybe it could be actually. Yeah, this would be one of the differences in approach I think. So one way would be to couple the shortcuts to scenes, but then it's not generic. The other way is to create a generic template for shortcuts and docs. And then change the shortcuts based on the class. So like, is there a relationship between the class, like how to construct the class, how to build the shortcuts on the class, taking into consideration the other, like the context is very hard. You should think about this. Well, syntax highlighter is interesting as well. I'm gonna just press F5. Yeah, so this, I'm pretty sure now that this is gonna be the editor class. That's here just for. But this is probably what creates the like the hinting or the options to complete the code, suggestions, and complete option. Yeah. So this text, well, this should be the actual thing that's yeah the code editor class. So the code editor class probably has a pop-up that is gonna put the option with the information here. And here's basically parsing the text to see what kind of thing it is. Changing the color. Oh, I forgot to do the savings as well. The setting savings. Hmm. I think I'm gonna have to do this first. Hmm. It's probably better to choose another. It's better to use another project because I don't wanna create scripts on this one. It's my. I've already been through this stuff. It's just gonna load the scene. I'm just gonna. Yeah. I'm not interested on this. The thing is that I don't have JavaScript here on this project. And I don't wanna create to not mess up everything. I think I should switch between tasks probably. So like do this one first because otherwise like I keep delaying creating these other classes and I know that they're gonna be hard because it's very complicated. There's a lot of stuff. So I think I should go back and forth and that's gonna make it easier to do it. I should do this one in the beginning, then I should move on, should go back to the doing the saving. But I think that it might be easier to do the layout saving, not the doc saving, because yeah, but I guess I don't need to introduce the class or I can remove. Based on the way that I did things, it's gonna be very easy to comment out just comment out one line to not add the doc to the scene. So let's create a script. At this one, I put the plugin here to study. That's why I'm getting these messages. I should probably delete this. I don't care about this anyway. Yeah, so it is gonna select this, and then this one's gonna create a pop-up. I forgot to see the signals that this is. So it's not connected to any signals. Interesting. So this is just from the window. I'm just gonna click create. So I guess that's. I think about this. It should probably be a singleton, the class. So like this is gonna trigger the create, I think, are confirmed. So it's gonna be on this class, the signal probably. Yes, great. So this is gonna be the one that probably that's after you click on create, it's gonna call this function. It's gonna run this function, I think. Or actually, it's probably this one because of the file browse. So file selected is gonna run this. No, I think that this sets on the class because this is probably from the other accept dialog. Yeah. So the accept dialog creates the button and then that function just changes the description of the button. I don't know why it's here instead of here, but it doesn't matter anyway. So this is the function that is gonna run probably. Parent name got text. So maybe I missed something else. I guess I should. I can just put the breakpoints there and then see what happens. Hmm. The other big difference is that they created, I think that the file system doc is also a singleton based on the way that they created. So then it makes sense that they might have connected signals for HSC on the editor node constructor. The editor file system is kind of like the back end of the file system doc. So it looks like it's another function that gets run there. So this is gonna get the language, which is gonna be either GDScript or it's gonna be C Sharp, I think. Try the languages supported by the script. So the other one gets what language it is, and this one gets, or maybe this gets the language. It's just saving the file. It's gonna make this signal. Let's see here. Oh, zone OK pressed. I think this is a function that comes from the other class that this inherits from. From what I remember, yeah, this it overrides the. It's probably the accept dialog. Yeah. So this is basically like putting the callback or connecting a signal. Just the function that is gonna run. I think I did this on the pop-up that I was creating there as well. So let's see what happens. I'm just gonna press F5 here because I think that's maybe it's just too much stuff, and I want to make sure that I'm gonna try to save time and then just figure out what exactly is the class that is going to call there. I think it's gonna happen after the signal, because this stuff is more related to creating the actual file, I think, on the using the file system. And I think I already did this on the other one. Look, the thing that I didn't do as well on the file system class, the one that I have, is to put logic to different icons. So I have to find the icons for each language and then just add to the default theme and put some additional logic on the thing that checks to see the extension. But I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna check to see the extension and then yeah. But maybe I actually need to implement this because. But I think that's is not gonna be. No, I'm not really sure. No, actually, the functions on the file system doc, which is the fs view on my thing, they already use the other. I think this they use the OS class to actually create the file on the operational system. So it's more about just putting the file there, which I already have, and then just putting the icon. I think the icon is the main thing that I have to change. But then the file is already going to be on the operational system, and then it's going to be more about on the other class, the one that I'm focusing on now. You should get that file and then create the structure of the file. So I think that this stuff's not going to be very interesting, probably, for what I'm trying to do. So this is very weird. Doesn't seem that. He's running a thing. It's probably in one of the functions there that I missed. But it might be somewhere after here. Yeah, nothing. Yeah. This is from the editor file system. Just gonna update the file system. Also, it didn't open the file. That's why. So it just creates the file. But I thought that after you clicked, you would open. So when I double click this one, let's see what happens. Yeah, now it's gonna create. So I'm 100% sure now that this is the class that creates the thing there. Does it have a tab container? And that's so maybe the code edit has a tab container. I think the code edit is yeah, code editor is gonna have or code edit. I think somewhere there needs to be a tab container because it uses to create the tabs obviously on the editor. But now I don't I'm not yeah, but it has at least one tab, so it should have a tab container somewhere. It's probably gonna be on the other class then. Like this, I should test this first, or try to get to the point where I can test this first. Maybe I should put just a normal code edit there on the as a doc, to see what's gonna happen with the tabs. But I think it's fine. I think I already tested this actually. Yeah, I already tested, so I know it's gonna be fine. It doesn't have here also. Mm. So not really sure what's gonna. I want to see where they call this from. I should see on the double click on the file system doc what they're putting because I changed. I think oh, I changed the one click, but I probably would double click as well, obviously, because my there is just gonna open when you click. So I need to put breakpoints before on the editor or the file system doc on the double click just see how did they do it. How do they bridge the gap between file system doc and these other classes? Also, this one is the one that So I think that the code editor is probably, maybe this one has the tab containers. Or it doesn't. Mm. I guess I could just go back to see how they do it. The niche put there. Yeah, this one is the one that you registered before, I think. When you was creating the plugins on the editor node constructor. You called the other function. You called the other function and then passed this one as an argument. So it calls like this. The script editor. Tab container. So this is the one that has a tab container. So I think that it goes like the code text editor uses the code edit. The code edit is the class that manages the only one file, the text of the file and other stuff like that. The color stuff like this. Then the code text editor, I'm not really sure what's the purpose of the code text editor. I think the script text editor is more obvious. It's going to put the functionality of GDScript, managing script functionality, on top of the other one. And then the script editor is the class that has the tab containers that is gonna manage probably multiple different script text editors. Which each tab on the tab container. So I think that this is probably gonna be the main class there that actually creates the whole thing. And obviously there's a lot of code, so it's gonna be very annoying, I think. Because I think that probably the best strategy is not to copy everything and then reduce. I think it's probably better to start from the beginning and then just try to figure out what parts of this do I need. But I still think that's gonna be kind of annoying to figure out. And it looks like they have drag and drop functions as well. And they have this history stuff. Obviously, I think that's gonna be I'm gonna simplify a lot because most of the stuff I'm probably not gonna need in the beginning, because obviously the purpose is different. So I should like study this, trying to figure out what are the key parts that I need in the very beginning. So far, I think that's just gonna be the code edit class, and then I build on top of it. So like one question would be whether or not to, I think just based on the way that they do it, it's probably better to just initialize the code edit as a member variable of the other class that I'm going to create. I'm going to look into the other one after to see what's inherits from. I think, yeah, this one's going to inherit from this one, and this one inherits from text editor, I think. So I should probably make the code edits as a member variable, like create a new class, then inherit from the same one that the other one inherits from. Then have this as the starting template. I'm gonna search for videos as well on the code edit to see if I find anything. And probably read the documentation as well. My shortcuts is gonna be very big. I need to organize like my. So I have to create a ranking of priority and then like follow the ranking as I study to translate to the other one. So I need to clarify or think about how to clarify the translation. And I think that the first thing is probably a bridge. I think I should focus on this first. And then I'm gonna have to change the other class that I have there. And maybe it's a good idea to add the icons as well. Now one question is, does like the file system doc works with a server, and the way that I'm doing there is on the file system presenter, which is just you have like the server and the client, and then you have something in between to manage the communication between them, is the presenter. But they are using the file system doc, which is kind of like the view, which you see what you see on the GUI, and then they're using the editor file system as the server, which manages the state of the actual file system. So I think that the question I have is basically the same as well, or the script editor. So maybe they don't need it, but I'm gonna need. And from what I've seen there's the TCP server here, but I'm not really sure what's the connection between this and the other classes. So obviously this is gonna change the design a lot, I think. And I think it's probably better to think about this in the beginning, because then it's gonna influence how I create the class in the beginning. The initial picture I have in my mind is just create the class inherit from the same one that one of these inherits from. Then it just initialize the code edits in the beginning. We'll just display like the text file. The other, I'm not gonna put these levels of, I'm gonna try to reduce as much as possible the levels of abstraction. So I'm just gonna get to the base class that these other ones have. And then I'm probably gonna initialize the tab container as well on that class. So it's gonna have a code edit and a tab container. The tab container is gonna manage the different files. And The other obvious part is gonna be the highlighter and the like hinting or the options. So I have to see how this stuff works. I think like this gets into like scanning on the background, which is fast changes on the FS model. So like how do I know? They have this stuff on the VS Code now, which they didn't have before, which checks for changes on the file from the operating system, and then asks to compare, to overwrite or maintain the changes. But I don't think that I'm gonna do this. But like the question is, what is the other way, like the simpler way to do this? Because obviously you need to make sure that you get the most recent. So I think one thing that the simple thing that you can do is just every time that you select, check for changes using the F file access class. So the rest of the stuff, I think that's gonna start to diverge. Some of the stuff they probably don't have, and I'm gonna have to figure out from other projects or just researching, which is gonna be the like hinting, the suggestions. But I do think that they have a template on the code edit or some other class. It's like the pop-up menu that shows up with the options to complete the text. So based on what I've seen there, I think that they do have this as well. The question is like how to extract that from the context that they have here. Oh, the history is also. Yeah, I need to have this history as well. So, because for Control Z, this is something that I use a lot. Or obviously to like change, to go back and go forward on the history. So I do think that I'm gonna need some kind of a server or something, because like yeah, but then the question is like what is the line between the class and the rest of the thing? Like how does the responsibility changes? I think probably I'm not gonna need a server. I'm just gonna use the file access, because I think that's like it's better to just make the class to manage what is visible on the scene, and then to leave the responsibility of what to do with the changes that are visible through the other nodes on the scene. So like it's basically gonna be a bridge, like a router of signals. So it's gonna display the text, and then based on the changes, it emits signals, and then the other parts of the scene determine what to do with that. I think that makes more sense. Yeah. But for the hinting stuff, it might be useful. But I think I can put, it's probably better. It's not necessary. I'm gonna start with only one class, I think, because it's not gonna be there. I think if there is too much logic, it's probably an indication that I should create another class, like that is gonna be external to the file system or to the file to handle this. I think that makes more sense. And the main question is the connection. But I'm only gonna be able to know this once I do everything. It's probably not gonna be that hard. It's just gonna be emitting signals. Like I think that is kinda, I'm not sure. I think I need to create another class that works kind of like a hidden abstraction on the scene. Like, yeah, so like maybe a control class or just a node that doesn't show on the scene, so it's set as invisible. So just a class that's because I am gonna probably need a parser or stuff like this, and I am gonna have to not have to, but it's probably gonna be a class that connects the files the like command line doc with the file system, and that has a parser. Like to put logic to connect when you put commands here to change what shows up on the file. And I do think that's probably I don't know I don't think it makes sense to make it as a part of each one of the scenes. Like I think at some point I have to create abstractions that work as a bridge between these different docs. Because it's gonna depend a lot on like what I create. It's connecting through the main nodes. And this is why it's confusing. So I think it's just easier to clarify the connection. I should go over again the I just close the file and then open again and put breakpoints before on the file system doc or just manually search there. Because I'm already more familiar with file system doc. But the thing is that it's probably not going to be direct, like a direct connection. So you should probably look into the signals that file system doc connects on the editor. Just based on the way that it is here. So it is here at the end when it loads the resource. Off stream, I'm going to go back and I'm going to create a scatter draw of the flow. But maybe it doesn't matter that much. It only matters to the extent that I'm gonna change this thing. So because I changed the way I'm gonna leave it as an option. I think I did this way because VS Code does this as well. So like when you click one time, it opens. When you click one time, the file. Yeah, so I have to change the logic for clicking one time on the file. And I'm probably just gonna set up a signal. So I think that the way that I have there is let's find here. It's this one, I think. Or I think it's this one. Either one of this. No, it's not this one. I don't think it's this one either. Check. Oh, this is for yeah. So this is because of the way that I did that add file. So that's it adds the element of the tree, and then it immediately puts to rename. So that is on the correct place. I think yeah, it's gonna be here. No, this is for collapsing on columns. It was one of these ones, but I don't remember where did I put this. I think I just copied the code that this one had, and I put it on another function, I think. It's probably on the no, the item edit's not. That should be one of these, obviously. Let's go one row. This, not this. This is for the pop-up. There should be this. No, this pop-up. Maybe I put here. So it's probably this thing here. Yeah, I think it's this thing. So it's gonna get the item at the position of the mouse. If it's a left click, and then it's just gonna if it is a directory, it's just gonna change whether or not it's collapse or uncollapse. So here I can put the else condition and then emit a signal. And that's what I'm gonna do. So put the else, emit a signal. If it's a file, obviously. So the signal is gonna pass the path, I think. I emit a signal with the path of the file. Then on the other class, I connect to the signal, and then I have a callback function that is going to create the other class based on the file. Just probably gonna use file access to read the file and then just write. So this, so I have to. So here I think I already understand how this works. I guess I can do this. I'm gonna do this off stream, but it's not that hard. It's just add a signal there to the class. I'll do this later. So this is the one that I had before, and it's just gonna be on item activated. That's the signal that they emit when the tree emits when an item is selected, I think. I can change, but I think that's it's probably not better. I think the reason why I did the way that I did there is because there isn't a signal to determine when the thing is selected, like when thing is clicked. So putting on the inputs probably better than putting on the signal, because I think the signal is gonna might override the folder logic. I think it's just easier to put on the the GUI inputs. So the bridge is through the resource loader, which uses inspector doc, which added the resource. I'm just gonna so it passes the script through this. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with this because it's gonna be kind of annoying to figure out. This keeps track of the editor history also. Then it's gonna get the ID here and create the object from the ID, which is probably a script, GD script class. I was gonna see. So this inherits from a VBox container. So I'm probably gonna copy this class here. So this already has the system to set up the pop-up probably. And then probably, so I'm gonna have to see if I can customize using the class or I have to create another class, then inherit from the original one and change the, or create a new class from the beginning. Oh, so uh, I missed the drag and drop there. This is gonna be on the next editor. And this is kind of, oh no, it's returning the pointer of this one, which is the code edit. Makes sense. So whenever the drag and drop starts, it's gonna be from the code editor, and the callback is gonna be here. Let's see, drag forward. Drop data is gonna be logic to drop the data. There's a lot of classes. You've got to see this inherits from, which probably does. Script editor base. Yeah. So the one that is used is actually this one. And it's probably because of multiple languages. Like biggest points of confusion, or not confusion, is like that it's hard to decide is when to do each thing because there's so many things to do on each class. And obviously they all depend on each other, so it's kind of confusing to figure out. Not sure if I should go back to the other one. But it looks, from what I've seen here, it shouldn't be that hard. The part that is gonna be hard is the history because I haven't seen anything from with history. I haven't studied the history yet, how they manage the history. But for the initial templates, I think it's gonna be relatively easy. Just like study these functions here and then create the class based on the tab and create the tab, copy the function, remove everything. Just leave this stuff to switch between classes or switch between tabs. It shouldn't be that hard, I think. So the history shouldn't be that hard, I think, as well, because it looks like it's just gonna be a vector, and then just pop and push to the vector as actions are taken. So after each function that creates an action that you want to keep track of, you just put on the vector. You can actually put a size as well, and then just push and pop. So I think it's probably not gonna be that difficult. The difficult part is just like putting all together. That's where what is difficult. Like thinking about the whole picture of everything. Just gonna go over this. I should have stepped into this. It looks like it's not gonna do anything. I'll be right back. Remove the camera. Yeah, so this is definitely the class. I should test to see when I left or when I right click and when I already did the left click, nothing happened. I didn't drag yet, but I'm gonna test to see what happens when I right click. So I don't have a breakpoint there. Also the suggestions, the auto completion. So, yeah, but now that I know that that's the class, is a lot easier. Also, the other thing that I have to see is how they do this at a new scene. Hmm. So I'm gonna click twice here. Yeah, I think they only have one tab on the file system, maybe. I'm just gonna press F5. Hmm. They only have one tab on the file system and they have more tabs on this thing. Actually, they have more here, right? So it is kind of weird. That's why they have multiple classes there. Like hmm. Let's see this one. So this class is responsible for this part here, the whole thing. And another class is gonna be responsible for creating this. So is this the script editor? So this is the script editor. So which one is the class that holds? I think it's gonna be related to the editor node. So it's on the other part that is more confusing to understand. So like the tab container on this class is the vertical or yeah vertical here. Hmm. I'm not really sure actually. This should be. Yeah, it is kind of weird because like I imagine that this would be a tree and this would be three items, but I think that this is probably a tab container since that's what it runs there when I select or when I double click. It runs this, which is the tab stuff. Just not sure why they did it with a tab here. And I didn't know you could do this with a tab container. It's making me think about the icon sidebar class. Not sure. It probably wouldn't be worth it to change. It might be worth it to change because then it's easier to structure the layouts. What was the other stuff that I was trying to... I want to see which class is responsible for this. So add a new scene. Sync tabs. Editor sync tabs. This is probably going to be initializing inside of the editor. Interesting. Oh, so it uses an HBox container for this. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to rethink this. 'Cause the way that the way that I was thinking is that like this stuff is gonna be a tab bar, but it looks like they are using the HBox container. Then how do they put the element there? So this is gonna be a button. I'm not sure what the other one's gonna be, and then they are adding as a child of the HBox container instead of using tab container. But it might be better to use tab, like might be simpler to use tab container, I think. So I'm not really sure why they did it like this, but obviously there must be an explanation. So this is when the button there is gonna be clicked to add the new thing. It's gonna run this function on the editor node, passing this file new thing. I think I've seen this sometimes before. I still think that I'm gonna do it differently. So like they use the tab container on their thing there to for the files, but it's different because the tab container is the I thought that the files that show there would be a tree class, and each element would be a tree item. But it looks like they're using the tab container for selecting the files and then changing what's displayed there, and they use the other HBox container on top. But I still think that I'm gonna use the tab. I'm gonna try to use the tab container, and then I'm just gonna change the way. I don't know. I think that the way that they achieve there is by using the tree or the item list as the class for the tab container, and that's how it changes the way that it works there. So I'm gonna try to do it with the tab container for each tab, and then I just change the logic. And this is gonna be the option that it passes. Hmm. Let's see ChatGPT response. This is interesting. Let's see. So, yeah, I think roughly what it's saying is like for more customization, they use the HBox container. So now I'm not really sure if I should do that as well. There is this icon here. Like on the tab container, you have an option to set the icon, but I think that's from what I've seen. I'm not sure if it emits a signal. It's a button actually. Uh, Depending what you set on the tab container is gonna show the button or not. But I don't think there are signals. I don't remember below. But for this stuff, I think it makes sense for the inputs, because obviously you can't rewrite the tab container to do some additional stuff. So the obvious option would be to create a class that inherits from tab container and then change the input there. But I'm not sure if that makes sense. So I think the way that they are doing is creating an HBox container And for each tab, they use a tab bar to display. Hmm. Let's see if there's any errors from anything. I could copy this class and then just change the name. I'm not really sure about their approach though. I'm not sure if I understand very well like what are the benefits. And the main benefits probably for the panel for customization of the interaction. But I'm not sure if it affects the logic of the stuff that is going to be shown. Let's see what happens for the. So it does allow you to create. And now it's not working. So it only allows you to create one at a time probably. Yeah. It displays icons. Sure. I hear there are also different icons for the files. Hmm. Since they do it, since they do it this way, it's probably better to do it this way as well. So basically do the same thing, but I'm just gonna like transfer, because obviously for mine is gonna be for the files. So instead of I have to think about like instead of using the tab container for changing the files there, I use I'm probably gonna copy this class, then just change the name initially, and remove everything that it is using the editor. Or I'm gonna comment out everything that uses the editor. Let's see if I click here. Okay, so what else? Let's see if I click here. Oh yeah, it's the completion. The problem is not okay. Yeah, so it did run this. I was gonna say the problem is that it's not gonna show, but it runs right after. And this is on the code edits. Yeah, I'm gonna stop streaming now. I already have a good idea of what I'm gonna do. I just have to spend more time thinking about what is the best way to go about it. But probably I'm going to start like I'm gonna create the class, the initial part of the classes. So I think the main ones are gonna be the script editor. I, I forgot which one creates the whole thing there. Yeah, is this one? No, this one. I think that the script editor is the whole thing here. A search of. The script editor is gonna use the code edit. Yeah, so this class is the one that creates this whole panel here, I think. Also, this is interesting here. A debug, gotcha. So this is the menu that it has there. This is the main menu. So let me see if I can find. But this should be a split container. I find the separation. Fuck. Yeah, this actually is very interesting, but I think I'm probably gonna decouple this from here. But it's very interesting to know because then I can see how they do all this functionality and then I can reuse somewhere else. I think my stuff is probably gonna be in the main navbar, these options. Or maybe I should put it inside of the thing. Not sure if I should put this inside of the class as well. Oh, it's this button here, I think. Yeah, make the script editor floating. There's also the thing here. This is very interesting as well. Like, mm. And this is not bounded, I think, by the main application. Yeah. The question is obviously whether or not to get the whole class and then just comment out everything that is related to the editor and then try to restructure things. Or if it is to take only this, the text, and then connect this text here with the tabs here and remove the other stuff and then maybe reuse the other stuff for other parts of the thing. Not really sure which one would be better. I think it manually is using the GUI input probably to manually create a slider between them instead of using a split container. It's using this class here, I think. Yeah, probably. This should be, this is on the menu, so it's not this. Let's see how this is created. Sure. Know whether or not, but you know the separation of the classes. So it does use a split container. Actually, this is interesting because I think that this kind of splits a lot better. And I remember that I was trying to figure out on the doc, on the layout of the editor node, how they do the split container. So I think the normal one that it has more space between the docs. So I think that's probably better to use this one. So I might try to see how they create this. Like what is the difference between this one? But it might be just on the style on the thing. It looks like it doesn't have like anything here. I think it's probably gonna be the thing that makes it different. Or it might be this split offset. And it's gonna be here. Like now I'm not really sure if this is just the left part of the thing. Oh, it has to be the whole thing, I think. I think that the reason why they did it like this is because there can be multiple different scripts. So it's probably creating the v or either VBox container or some container, and then it's gonna like initialize. But it's kind of weird that it's not added as a child or something like this. I think it's the base that is gonna be here on the initialization. Yeah, but it doesn't add as a child or anything. It puts on the tab container. And so this one initializes the tab container, and then it puts the scripts on the tab container. Yeah, so when you change the tab container, it's going to be the logic just change what shows there. So it's as if it is a child of the tab container. So I'm gonna have to think more about whether or not it's worth it to copy the other class or choose tab container. You know, the other class is better for visualization, but tab container is easier for the logic of everything. And the main thing to clarify is the why, the reason why they did it like this. Because obviously, but I think I need to do the other one because I'm probably gonna need to put custom logic. So the question should be whether or not it's worth it to create a new class that inherits from tab container. And then, but I think that if I did that, it wouldn't be very good because you can't override. But maybe I'll get the class that they have. I think probably the best way to do it is to get the class that they have for creating the tabs using the hbox, which is the editor sync tabs. And then inside of this class, so obviously create a new one, then change the name. Inside of this, use a tab container in the same way that they are doing here. And then leave the logic for the tab container and leave the visualization for the other one. I'm not sure if that's possible. Or I just copy the functions from the tab container into this one. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So I'll create a new class and just copy the functions from the tab container. Let's see if there is an icon, but I think there isn't. There is this things here. I think I need to do a mix, like some of the logic there might be interesting to put here. There's also the difference between, like, there's this path here on VS Code, which the path I think is useful. A lot of the times I just look here. It's useful that I can click and navigate here as well. It might be very annoying to do this. So for this part, I might copy the way that they do there, and then do this, and then just put here instead of the tab, and then change this to be. I don't think that is worth it to copy the whole thing. I'm gonna start from scratch. 'Cause there's a lot of stuff that's not necessary. So I should probably do a drawing on SkyDraw to think about the design and which classes I'm gonna use for each part of the design. And then whether or not it's worth it to use this other stuff here. I'm gonna stop streaming here. I have to spend time thinking about this. So next time, just gonna continue to work on this. I'm gonna do the beginning of this class, and like once I have like the starting points, I'm probably gonna go back to the other one, then go back and forth between them, to synchronize everything. And I think on the beginning, I'm gonna copy the templates, like the initial, just the constructor of the class. I'm gonna go from this one, I think, the script editor, like as if it is the script editor. And then instead of using I think I'm probably gonna use the editor tab scenes and then like do a custom class. Because I do think that's like for the flexibility thing, I think it makes sense to use the editor tabs class. But then for the logic, it makes sense for the type container. So I think probably the best thing to do is try to create a mix between the two. Create a new class, mix between the two. Then initialize instead of this one. And put signals for adding a child. Yeah, like I should see what functions from the type container that this one uses, and then see if it's gonna be a very big problem to move them to the other class. And if it is, I'll think about. Probably it won't be very hard. Then I move the ones from type container that are used by this one to change between the nodes. And the other option would be use the type container inside of the other class. That might be easier. So like I just do the same thing that they do on the tab bar. The tab container, a lot of functions on tab container is just calling the tab bar, a function on the tab bar. So I could do the same probably. Create a custom class, then initialize the tab container. Then for changing the logic, I use the tab container instead of the other one. And I add everything as a child of the tab container. So I'm gonna add this here. Yeah, I'm gonna continue to do this next time. So see you then.